Hey everyone, I'm Wes Seago. This is Java1, term 1409, week 1 assignment, Mastering the Fundamentals. Try to go through this really quickly. The requirements for this were to make sure you have your name in your Java file, which, there we go, name is there, compiled with a minimum SDK of API 14 and a target SDK of API 19. Have them right here, 14 for minimum, 19 for the target. Code has to be pushed to a private repo with the instructor having access. Here's my repo, Java1. It is private, and Mr. Story does have access to that. So I'm going to give you a walkthrough with the minimum requirements. First, I'm going to start it up, let you see what it does. The app this week is not something that really fills any purpose other than to show these requirements. But this is it. It's called Children's Names. Place for you to add your children's name. It puts them in a file, and then it allows you to call methods or manipulate those items. So allow user to enter text was the first requirement right here. A person can enter text through that text field, edit text field. Allow the user to click a UI control that will add text to a data collection, which I have an add child button right here. For data collection, I use a link hash set because it doesn't allow loop duplicates, and it also doesn't have to be dimension when it was created. So I felt like that was probably the best way to go. The data collection will only hold unique entries. Well, that's part of having a hash set, so that took care of that. Display the number of entries in the data collection. You can see there I have a data entry file display there. Also display the average length of entries in the data collection. I have that set up as well. And allow the user to select any entry from the data collection by using UI controls and display the contents of that entry in an alert that must be acknowledged. Down below the average length there, I have a list view, and that's where it's all going to wind up. I set up a simple row layout resource over here to control that list view. So anyway, getting back to it, I'm going to go ahead and start the application up, let you see it work, run in Jenny Motion. Definitely recommend it if you're stuck using an emulator. But here we go. I'm going to have my oldest daughter, Megan, add her in, have one entry. Notice a little toast message down here. I really did that for debugging, but I just left it. The average length of her name is, well, her name is 6 characters, so the average length of all the entries in the data collection right now, there's only one, so it is still 6. Go ahead and add my second daughter, 2, still 6 because they both have 6 names. And my third daughter is Chloe, 5 characters in her name, so the average length runs down to 5.67. You're able to select those, and it will give you a alert box that does show that their name is there, and you do have to, in fact, cancel that. So that portion working. In addition to those minimum requirements, the following functionality was required to demonstrate mastery of the topics. Use the proper input type for the text entry. Again, I use an edit text field. Reset the view when the contents are added to the data collection. You'll notice that the edit text field is now empty, so that works. Use the proper UI controls for accepting user clicks. I used a button for data entry and also in my alert messages. And I used alert messages in lieu of toast just because acknowledgement was required. Use the proper data collection for storing unique data sets. Again, I used a hash set for the reasons I stated before. And the display collection size is always accurate, which you can see that it is. That's more of a logic issue. And, as long as you put that method in the proper place, it's going to work properly. Use a custom method to calculate the average length of entries instead of duplicating your code. Show you down here at the very end, I have a getAverage custom method. And the proper alert method is used to display the requested entries that you saw as well. I'll go ahead and demonstrate a couple of other things. If you try to add an empty string, it says name field is empty, you must enter a name. And if you try to add a duplicate, put Chloe in there again. Sorry, George Foreman, but duplicate names are not allowed. So all of that functionality works. Run through the code as quickly as I can. Handle my Java imports. And then inside of my activity, I set up my variables. In my onCreate method, I have my link for my button variable and my list view variable, and also I go ahead and create my string array for the list view. In my onCreate options menu, that's where I set up the event listener for the button because I want to make sure that the button's created before I try to put a listener on it. A link to the edit text field, and then that's where I created those toast messages for debugging, and then I actually call, once someone clicks on that button and that on-click fires, it just basically runs through an if statement. First it checks to see if the string is empty. If it's empty, it fires a empty field alert. Go ahead and get that on the screen for you. Empty alert. If it also then it checks for a duplicate string. If it's a duplicate, I have a separate duplicate alert, and then if it passes those tests, it creates the array adapter. It sets the array adapter to the list view. It adds the name to the data collection by calling a custom method down here, add name, and then that's it. After that, it calls a update method, update text views method, which that's where I update the number of entries, the average number of the entries, the edit text box is cleared out there, and then I also set my click listener on my list view items there. So anyway, that's it. Trying to condense that down into 5 minutes. So I hope everyone had a great week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for watching.